Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next ENFOS Expert series webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 ways ENFOS mobile app makes your job easier. And really, we're going to talk about at least 5 ways that it makes your job easier. I'm frequently asked by our users and our clients, how can I get more out of my ENFOS subscription? And my answer always includes using the ENFOS mobile app. It's free, and we're going to train you on how to use it and how using that will make your job easier. So let's get going. First off, these webinar basics, we're all familiar here. It's being recorded, and you're going to receive this recording after the webinar. Everyone's in listen-only mode. Use that GoToWebinar panel, which you can minimize, to ask any questions. We will have some time for question and answers throughout the meeting at the end of the presentation. All right, so I am your first speaker today. I'm Torrie Behrens. I'm the Director of Customer Success. And joining me today is Tara Cuccio. And Tara works on the customer success team, is a mobile expert, and is a new resident of Missouri. So Tara, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Torrie.
All right, we're going to start with a health and safety moment, an important one. Today, March 8th, is International Women's Day. So I am happy to be joined with Tara, who is leading this webinar with me today, as well as Sherry Wu, who did a lot of our setup. So thank you to those 2 women for making this webinar possible today. Today is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women, and it also marks a call to action for accelerating women's equality. Some of you may know this, but my entire customer success team is made of amazingly talented women who work very hard to keep your projects moving forward and you happy ENFOS users. So, not only recognizing Tara and Sherry, but I also wanted to recognize both Alexa and Christina and send a big thank you to them and all of their contributions. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to start really at the basics, downloading the app for iOS and Android, as well as login and the login options. Then we're going to move into a live demo, and Tara is going to show us some basic app navigation, some site module, action items and finance, and then we're going to finish up with some compliance module demoing. So I want to start with a slide actually from our last webinar, that ENFOS Don'ts webinar, or the ENFOS Best Practices webinar. And my second best practice and way to improve your ENFOS use was do not use the ENFOS web app on your mobile device. And the screenshot I'm showing here is a screenshot if you try to log in and access your ENFOS system from your mobile device. You can see it's really jumbled up. It's not optimized for viewing, and it's really difficult to use. And my best practice there and ways to correct that was to use the mobile app. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to have lots of views to share from our mobile app. If you want to go back and watch this webinar and listen to me talk about this and a few others, this is available on the ENFOS YouTube page. And you can also view any of our past webinars on the new tab page in your ENFOS system. All right, so before we can start using the ENFOS app, we have to download it. You can download it from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. You can search either ENFOS or ENFOS Inc., and you'll see the app, and it will look like just as my screenshots are shown here. You can download it. As I noted, it is free. To log in, you must have an active ENFOS production account, and then you will have access to the app. So really simple and straightforward. Once you open your app, you're going to receive this welcome page. And you'll select your language, and then you'll have a little pop-up that just is welcoming you to ENFOS. We only have a production-facing app available for our users. No other of the ENFOS test systems are available for the users with the mobile app. All right, so login options. The next step, of course, is with your app to log in to the system. ENFOS supports multiple methods for logging in. We're going to start talking about the username and password, right? That's where you enter in your email address and your password. In a few slides, we're going to talk about the SSO login method, or the single sign-on login method. So for the username and password, it's the same as your production login, right? It's that same password you use to log into your production account. And as you are forced to update that password periodically, depending on your settings, maybe every 3 months you have to update your password. That's going to also update that same password at the same time for your mobile app. So your password is the same for, when you log into ENFOS on your computer versus when you log into ENFOS on your mobile app. We'll talk more about SSO in a moment, of course. We have some optional login items. We have the Face ID and the fingerprint login. Now, these are not required by ENFOS, but we know, right, each of our devices, we may have options, or we may choose to use to log in with our Face ID or our fingerprint ID. This is dependent on your device, right, your phone and your mobile app. So it's up to you. ENFOS, prompts you, or your device prompts you with an option on if you want to use either of these login methods. Neither are required by ENFOS. I do want to note for these two capabilities, when your password changes, that stored password was stored with the Face ID and the fingerprint ID, and it'll no longer be synced up with production, right? So when you change your password, you are also going to need to update that password if you're using the Face ID or the fingerprint ID. The app will prompt you to update the stored password upon your login attempt. And if you don't see this automatically, there is a use another account, which kind of takes you back one step. And that's when you can manually enter it to update it. I am going to show you a screenshot of that, use another account link. Finally, users with access to multiple ENFOS clients. And that's someone like me who has multiple ENFOS accounts. When I log into production, I can choose that account. This might be for our consultant user role. They have this option to select which client you want to log into. And again, I will show you a screenshot of that and show you how to make that selection. Here's a couple of our screenshots from our login steps. If we have multiple clients, that's my first column here, you can see it, and of course I've blurred out some of my other client names here, but you can see I make the selection, right? And I would click on the ENFOS name to log into that ENFOS account, or any of my other clients I would see on that page. If I do need to back out, right? Maybe I'm using Face ID or fingerprint ID, or I want to log into a different ENFOS client, I can always use this use another account link on the bottom of the page. And that kind of backs me out and allows me to remake my selections. And finally, my error message. If I enter in my incorrect email address, if my user account is not active, or if I enter in my wrong password, I'm going to get an error message on my app. Very similar to the web system, where if you have bad login credentials, you're going to get an error message. And that's an example of what you may see with an error message. All right, let's talk about SSO, or single sign-on, for our options. Now, This is going to be for those clients that require single sign-on for their production login. And this does require a one-time setup between the ENFOS developer team and your IT team. Some of our clients already have this configured and already set up. Other clients I know that are using SSO do not have this configured. And if you are one of our admins and you want to make sure that single sign-on is working, contact our support team and we can work with you on the next steps. To do this single sign-on, we want to click that login with SSO options, and we follow the instructions on our device. Your ENFOS administrator can provide you with additional steps for logging into the ENFOS production system using single sign-on. And they have a few additional steps kind of shown here, and it may be unique by each client. Right? So if you are using single sign-on, definitely check in with us and we can help walk you through those steps. All right, so once we get through our username and password and we log in, we're taken to our action items page. And your page might look very similar to what I am showing here as my page. This is my action items page for my planning module. I don't have any plans that I require any actions for. So my page is blank, but I know I've been successfully logged into the mobile app. And from here, this is where we can start our mobile app navigation and steps forward. So at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Tara. And Tara, you're going to lead us on the next steps with basic navigation and move into our live demo portion of this webinar.
Perfect. Thank you, Torrie.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to change the presenter to you.
Great.
And I will confirm when I can see your screen.
All right, Torrie, let me know when you can see that.
Yeah, I can see you're on that choose account page that we looked at from the slides earlier.
All right, perfect. That's what I was hoping for. All right, everyone. So I will be working off of an iPad today, but I just want to reiterate the ENFOS app will work on any mobile device. And I will also be using an internal testing app for today's webinar. So all of the information and data that I will show is fictional. As you can see on my device, I have one owner that I previously logged into, which is our ENFOS owner. So I'm going to tap on this account. And now it's going to bring me to the username and password page. And I am going to use our fingerprint ID to log into testing to save a little bit of time. So just as Torrie mentioned, once you log into the app, this will be your landing screen. To move away from the action items view, just swipe your screen to the right, and you will then see the list of modules and submodules. This is going to be matching what you already have access to in the web version. If you're using a phone, you'll likely only see part of this list because your screen's just going to be smaller. So you will need to scroll up and down to see that full list. At the top here, we can see my user account. It's just my first and last name. Once I tap on my name, I now see my user settings page, which gives me the options to view my account, view my preference setup, or log out. If you're a legacy mobile user, you might have noticed that this logout option is actually in a new location. Under my account, just like in the web version, I can see all of the details around my account setup. This summary page will show you your demographic information, which I can edit if needed. Again, if your screen's a bit smaller, you might need to scroll through this list of your summary to see all of the details. In the top right corner, I have my option to edit. And this is going to bring me into the first of two editing pages for my user account. If I need to modify any of this information, all I will need to do is tap on the field and make my edits. So if I have a universal employee ID that I need to type in here, I tap on my field, I'll get my keyboard popped up here. If I want to move away from this field, I just need to tap away from that universal ID, and then I'll go back to my regular screen here. If I'm done with edits on this page, I can go ahead and click next. See if there's anything I need to update on this second edit user page around my address or phone number information. Once done with your edits, if you'd like to save those edits, of course, you'll hit done at the bottom here. But if I actually don't need to edit anything, if everything looks in order, I can use the breadcrumbs in the top left where it says edit user 1 of 2. That will take me back to that previous page. Again, if nothing else needs to get edited, I can click the breadcrumb for back, and that's going to bring me right back to my summary page. I do want to note here that just like in the web version, the only piece of your account that you can edit will be your user summary information. Of the different tabs for limit group, user privileges, and this more option, which I'll get to in a second here, you will need to contact your client administrator for any changes that need to be made there. So throughout this application, we're trying to do our best to match what you have in the web version, just in a different view and a different format to make your jobs easier. So everything I'm going to be seeing here is going to match what I have in our test system on the web version. So for my pilot limit group, all of this information will match what's on the web version. Again, this is going to be your approval dollar limits that you have for the varying financials. The user privilege section is going to be in a grid form. So it looks a little bit different compared to the last screen. But again, this is matching what we have on our website. In the web version, it comes in a table form, and it has different sections based on the different modules within ENFOS. So I just tapped on that admin header to collapse it, just like you would do on the web version. This more option on the bottom right will give me the option to view my organization privileges, my next approvers if I have any set up, and then the history of my account. Organization privileges, of course, tells me where within this owner I have access to view. I have access to the full ENFOS portfolio with no exclusions. Going back to that more section, I can take a look at my next approver setup, where we can see that I have George for my work releases. I go back one more time. The history option, just as in the web version, will show any changes that have occurred to my account over time. So my next approver page from my user account did not have the option to edit. If I do want to modify my next approvers from within the app, I just need to back up to user settings and then go down to preference. Under preferences, I get the option to choose my language. Currently, the app only has options for English and Chinese, but I also get the option to update my next approvers. Just like we showed in my account settings, right now I only have George set up as my next approver. But let's say that I want to add Torrie in as my next approver for plans. To do that, all I need to do is click this plus button in the top right corner. I get this list of roles that I can choose from. I'm going to go ahead and click Planning, Next Approver. And just like in the web version, I would then select the appropriate hierarchy where Torrie should be my next approver for plans. If I just want Torrie for the entire portfolio, in this green ribbon for our hierarchy, I can just tap ENFOS, and then I would hit Next, and then Torrie would be my Planning Next Approver for the entire portfolio. If there's a specific level in the hierarchy or node where she should be my next approver, I would use this hierarchy navigator to make those selections by choosing the appropriate levels. And as you can see, I make these selections. Our green hierarchy ribbon has been updated. So if I just want Torrie for the ENFOS Other North America branch, I can click Next. And then the next step is going to be selecting who that next approver is going to be. So this is the full list of user accounts. I can scroll through this list and locate my next approver. On the right-hand side, we do have a letter selector option, which will let you jump to names starting with those letters. Or I can just scroll back up to the top and use this search bar and type in Torrie's name. And as I type in letters, ENFOS is going to update my selections based on what I've typed in. So I see Torrie here. I'm going to select her. And now my next approvers have been updated to include Torrie as my planning next approver for this node branch. I'm going to back it up now to our list of modules by clicking my breadcrumbs. And then this 3-line bar icon, or the hamburger icon, as some of us like to call it. Now, before I dive deeper into our different modules, I do want to show you how you can access your ENFOS browsing history and bookmarks using this left panel. From this module list page, all you need to do is swipe either left or even right. Can't go wrong. Here we see all of the history from my recent searches within ENFOS. This is not mutually exclusive to the app. This history section includes what I've looked at on my device as well as on the web version. If I want to view my favorites or what I've listed as a bookmark, I can just tap that option. And just like for our history, this list is not mutually exclusive to the app, but all of ENFOS. Moving back to my module list, you can see what node path you are at by this blue hierarchy bar right underneath your user account. So we can see that I am at the top node for ENFOS. And if I want to change what node path I am at, I can just tap this hierarchy bar. And then just like we saw with our next approvers, we get the hierarchy navigator where I can make my selections and choose the appropriate node path that I want to view. If I mistakenly choose the wrong selection, I can navigate within this green bar to back it up and make a new selection that is correct. So I'm going to pull back to my favorites and pick up on this groundwater remediation project. This is the project that I want to be at for the duration of our webinar moving forward. So just like in the web app, depending on the level of the hierarchy you're at, your view options will be adjusted. So we're looking at the project details summary for this AOC. If I wanted to navigate to the project details manually, not from my bookmarks, I would do this by selecting the site summary option from our submodules. This summary tab is going to give you all of the demographic details of the location. Note that the site summary details cannot be updated or edited in the mobile app. That will need to be done from the web version. So I can scroll through my project details, see all the information that exists here for this project. Our contacts, of course, are going to show who has been added as a contact at this site. Our documents will show up just as they do in the web version. You can actually tap on one of these rows to get a preview of what that document is from your app. So if I tap on my winter feature memo, I actually get to see what this document is. And I'm doing this all from this device. So you don't actually have to be logged in on your computer to see what's going on for the documents within ENFOS. Backing up to our documents page here, I can also get a preview of what photos, if any, have been uploaded to this location. Now, if no photos existed, I would see a blank screen that told me you have no photos at this project. So this tab is only to view photos within the app, but we actually have a new way where our users can actually add pictures to a site or AOC from the app. And that feature is called photo submission. So I'm going to back up again to our menu list. And underneath site summary, we have the photo submission. If you have your device's location services enabled, this photo submission feature will actually use your location to search for nearby sites to upload your photo. So you actually don't need to navigate to the node within the app ahead of time. You can either take a picture right then and there on location, or you can use the app to select any existing photos from your library on your device to upload. So I'm going to demonstrate this in real time to show that workflow. If I tap on photo submission, ENFOS is going to bring up my camera. So I have enabled this service on my device. We can see our ENFOS hat here. I'm going to take a picture of that. And now we're brought to the review photo screen. The only field here that is required is the notes. So I can just add in some dummy details here. Click done. And then I could add in an additional title. I could type in a date or lock this photo. I do want to note that for the first time use of our photo submission, you'll get a pop-up when you click on that button to request access to your camera. If you choose the option of the plus button next to the capture button, you'll be requested to enable ENFOS to access either certain pictures on your device or the entire library. Once I'm done reviewing my photo and I'm done adding in all the details, I can click next. And then because this device has location services enabled, and because I have a nearby site that is geolocated, ENFOS has automatically pulled up the closest site to me, which is this River Roads, Illinois site. I get the option to either upload it directly to the site, or I can view the AOCs underneath the site. And if you have multiple, you can then choose the proper AOC that you want to upload that photo to. So I'm going to go ahead and click upload to AOC. ENFOS is going to ask me if I'm sure. I'm going to say yes. And then I get the notification that the upload has been successful. I do want to note again that if the site or project that you are working at is not geocoded within ENFOS, this photo submission will not be able to find the location you are at. If that is the case, you can always take the photo on your device while you're on location and then upload it manually through the web app at that site or AOC. All right, so I am going to move back to our module list now and move back over to our action items. If you have your preferences set to show action items, you will see that here, just as you would on the web version. Each of these tabs are going to provide you with a small red circle indicating the amount of items for each financial type. So we can see from this view that I have one plan, 2 proposals, I have no purchase orders, and then I have 5 invoices that are all ready for me to take action on. If you do not already have your action items set up under your account, you can configure this, but it has to be done through the web app. And you'll do that under your user preferences. So just like in the web application, I can actually take action from these screens. So I'm going to move over to my proposals here. Let that load. So from this screen, I can choose whichever proposal I'd like to take action on. And I can pull up what action options I have by tapping and sliding my finger to the side. So I get the default option to approve, or I can click more, which will give me the full gamut of selections that I have the option for. So if your company uses rejection reasons in the ENFOS web app, you'll also see that in the mobile app as well. So let's say I wanted to reject this proposal. I'll click reject. I then get my rejection reasons. I can add in some additional comments, or I can just fill out the one required value. And I'm going to say not enough detail. And I'm going to go ahead and click this big reject button at the bottom. ENFOS tells me that the action is successfully completed and the proposal has now been rejected. ENFOS automatically brings me back to my proposal action items, where I now only have one reviewing proposal left. If you have not yet reviewed your items and you're not quite ready to take action on them, you don't have to make that decision from here, but you can actually tap on any of these and actually view the details within the app. So just like in the web version, you'll see all the same sections for the financial. The first is going to be our summary. We can see the contacts. We can take a look at the details even. So this is going to show that table for your time and materials, your units. On the top, we have the row for each item and the phase. On the far right, you get the quantity and the value for each row. And at the very bottom, we can see our totals. Just like in the site summary, if there's any backup documents, you can view them right there on your app. And you can also take a look at your history. On the top right corner, you may have noticed the star and three vertical dots, in the top right corner. And those exist on each page of the financial. So I can take action from these screens as well. I don't have to do that from the action items list. Going back to my action items, just like you can in the web version, you can also take bulk actions from the app. In the top right, I'm going to click bulk. I get these radio buttons that appear next to each invoice. And then I can select the ones that I want to take action on. I've already reviewed them. I know the details. They all look ready to go to me. So I'll go ahead and click action in the top right. And I'm going to approve these. As always, ENFOS is going to double check that I do in fact want to approve. I'm going to say yes. And my action has been successfully completed. You'll notice that these three radio buttons are still visible. If I'm done taking bulk actions, I could just navigate away from this page, or I can hit cancel in the top left. Okay, sticking on the tone of finances, I'm going to move over to our module list again and talk through our finance list here. Again, you're only going to see the options in the app for what you actually have access to based on your user permissions, matching what's in the web app. So I can see that we've got our planning, proposals, purchase orders, and invoices. If I tap on this planning option, this is going to expand to give me the option to view plans. So you'll notice that unlike the web application, the planning module is consolidated to only show the plans list. So you will not be able to view the balance screen or life cycle here. As I tap on plans, we are moved over to the plan list for this project. Again, if you're at a higher level in the hierarchy, the view is going to be different. You will not see the plans until you go down to the AOC level. Just as I showed before, I can take action from within the details of this list. Just like in my action items, I can tap and pull to the side and see that I can either roll forward this plan or tap my more option, where I can also admin, zap, or delete this plan if I so chose. If your company has multiple expense types at a given AOC, you can toggle over to the different expense types by tapping the right-hand icon here for the upside down triangle. I only have one expense type for this project for reserve, so I have nothing else to toggle over to, but if you had multiple, you would make that change here. Just like in our action items, if you want to dig in deeper to any of these options, any of these plans, I can tap on the plan and view the additional details. So to keep things simplified, each page for finances throughout the app will work the same to keep things consistent, to keep things easier on you. I do want to note here that the app only allows users to view and review or take action on financials. If an item needs to be created, you will need to do that from the web version. All right, to switch gears a bit here, I'm going to move over to our compliance. For our customers who use the compliance audits functionality, your users are now going to be able to answer audits while they're out in the field on location. Just like the finance module, audits will need to first be created and scheduled from the web version of ENFOS. Once scheduled, a user in the field can pull up the app, navigate to the correction node path, and then click on this compliance audits to see the audits at that node. So in our ENFOS test environment for this test owner, audits are only available up at the site level. So I will need to re-navigate in my hierarchy, move up to our River Road, Illinois site. And now I can go back down to compliance audits, where I can see all audits that exist at this site. Unlike the finance module, to take action on an audit, you will need to tap on that audit. If I try to tap and slide on any of these, nothing's going to happen. You can see the full list of historic audits that exist at this site, but the one that I'm most interested in is this one scheduled for today for our mobile app audit on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on this audit, where I can now see the full list of questions embedded in this audit here. If I want to take action or give an answer to any of these questions, all I need to do is tap on the question. We've got a couple of different fields here, but what I care most about is the name of the audit question, not the comment. So I can type in my answer. I can either click done or I can tap away from that keyboard and then click submit. ENFOS is automatically going to take me to that next question. But let's say I'm not ready to answer this question. I have an answer for a different one. I can use the arrows in the top right to move to the other questions. So I'm going to back it up to our mobile audit list of questions here. At the bottom, you'll see 3 different tabs. We've got the all questions, our audit summary, and then contacts, if any. Moving back to our all questions. Once you have completed answering each question, you'll get the option to submit, just like you would in the web app, and then you can submit your audit once completed. So my audit only has one completed answer, not quite ready to submit, so I'm not going to be able to submit this one yet. And then once all audits have been, or all audit questions, excuse me, have been answered, you can navigate back to your list of audits. And then if you have submitted your audit and you know it's been completed, but you don't see your status update, you can just pull down on your list and refresh that page, and you should see that status move from open to completed. For the last topic for our webinar today, I am going to talk about our email alerts. So just like in the website, in the website, if you have your preferences set to send you email alerts, either on financial items that are ready to take action on, or on audits that have moved status, you should be getting those email notifications from ENFOS. On your desktop, when you get those emails and you click the link to that item, ENFOS automatically pops up in your browser and brings you directly to that item. That same workflow now exists within your mobile device, assuming that you have your email set up and accessible on your phone and the ENFOS app is installed. To demonstrate, I'm going to toggle away from my ENFOS app and pull up my Outlook email where I have a recent alert. Here we can see that in this alert for an invoice that I can take action on, I have two links where I can either click that first one to get taken over to the invoice details, or I can take a look at my action items. If you're not logged into the ENFOS app, if you don't have an active session going and you click on one of these links, ENFOS will just take you over to, or it'll automatically pop up ENFOS and you'll have to log in. Once you log into ENFOS, you'll immediately get taken over to that alert item. So I'm going to go ahead and click the first link to view the invoice. After a second here, ENFOS loads up that specific invoice where I can review and take action as needed. The same functionality works for audits as well. All right, and with that, Torrie, I'm going to hand it back over to you and stop my screen share.
All right, Tara, hey, thank you. We've got a couple questions, and this is a shorter webinar today. This session we had for 45 minutes, so we do have some time for questions. And our first one we're going to talk about, and Alexa, I'm going to let you chime in with a few others, I know, but if your account is not active in production, can you log into the mobile app? And the answer is no, right? You have to have your active production account to be able to get into the mobile app. All right, Tara, I've got a question for you, and it's, can I view my site on the map within an app?
Yes, you can. So let me switch gears here.
And you know what? People are asking to see that also. So I'm going to make you back the presenter. And then you can share again.
All right, Torrie, can you see my ENFOS app?
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. All right, so we have a couple of other functions within our app that we just didn't have time to highlight today. So this is a great question. In our site section, we have the map submodule. So if I tap this submodule, I get a full shot of the globe and all the different sites that exist. Now, if I want to locate a specific one, I can use the locator, or I can do a quick cheat, use my history, navigate back down to our river roads, and then pull open our maps again. And ENFOS is going to zoom in right on this site for me. And I'm just using my fingers to pinch on my screen, just like you would on a regular device. No surprises there. And we can see my site map view.
Awesome. Thanks, Tara. We're going to do one more question, and I actually don't know the answer to this one. Can we view site or AOC documents in the map? You did show us the financial backup documents earlier.
In the map, Torrie,
I'm
I
sorry,
might
not in the
not
map,
be.
in the app. I'm sorry, in the app.
Oh,
APP.
yes.
AP.
Yes. All right, let me navigate down to my project where I know I have some documents. Moving over to, sorry, let me back that up. I went a little quick. So I am at a project level under site summary. At the bottom of my screen, I have 4 different options. I'm going to tap on documents, where you can see any documents that exist at that location.
And
So
you did show this earlier too, so thank you.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Happy to reiterate. So we've got a photo that's been uploaded. We also have a document. It's a PDF. Just like in the web version, whatever documents are listed there, you can actually tap on in your app and get a preview. And you can see this document. This is our most recent feature memo from our release last Friday. And I can scroll through the different pages. As I back up to documents, I can even download this PDF to my device if I so chose.
All right. Thank you, Tara. One last item before we wrap, just a note as some future functionality coming. ENFOS is reviewing push notifications from the mobile app. We are still kind of reviewing this and making sure we've got it absolutely right before we make this available for the users, but expect more information to come on that. We do have some other questions. We're going to reply to those outside of the webinar time. So I want to thank Tara for leading us today on this webinar and thank everyone here for attending. We hope this has been valuable and we appreciate all of your time today. Have a good day.